In a small village nestled at the foot of the Ngong Hills, where the air smelled of earth and the voices of children played on the wind, lived a young woman named Zola. She was known throughout the village for her beauty, her kindness, and her fierce spirit. Zola had grown up in a home where the warmth of love never lacked, yet there was always a certain quiet ache that tugged at her heart. Her family, though rich in love, struggled to make ends meet. Zola's father, Juma, was a farmer, but the land had not been kind to him in recent years. The rains had failed, and the soil had dried up. With each passing season, his crops yielded less, and the weight of unpaid debts bore heavily on his shoulders. Still, Juma never stopped working, hoping for a day when the earth would bless him once more. Temba, a young man who had grown up in the same village, had always admired Zola from afar. He, too, understood the harsh realities of life. Temba was the son of a herder, and while his family was not poor, the responsibilities of his father's flock weighed heavily on him. The cows were his pride, but the work was demanding, and often the best pastures were miles away, requiring long walks under the hot sun. One evening, as the full moon began to rise over the hills, Temba found himself walking to the village well, a place where many villagers gathered to fetch water, and sometimes, to speak their hearts. The air was cool, and the silver light of the moon danced upon the earth, casting shadows that seemed to carry whispers of old stories. There, at the well, he saw Zola, her hair falling like dark silk over her shoulders, her face illuminated by the moonlight. Temba had often seen Zola with a smile that could light up the darkest corner, but tonight, there was something different in her eyes, something he couldn't quite place. Her usually carefree demeanor seemed clouded by an unspoken sorrow. "Zola," Temba said, his voice soft. "You seem troubled. What weighs on your heart?" Zola looked at him, and for a moment, it was as though time stood still. Her gaze held a quiet sadness, and then she sighed deeply, her shoulders slumping as she rested against the stone of the well. "It's my father," she said quietly, her voice thick with emotion. "The land is not kind to him anymore. The crops are failing, and the lenders are knocking on our door. He works so hard, but the earth is unforgiving. I fear we will lose everything." Temba stood silent for a moment, his heart aching for her. He knew all too well what it was like to watch a parent struggle. But then, he took a step forward, gently placing his hand on her shoulder. "Zola," he said, his voice steady and reassuring. "The land may be hard, but it is not the only thing that sustains us. We have each other, and the strength to face whatever comes. Do not lose hope." Zola looked at him, and for the first time that night, a faint smile touched her lips. "I wish it were that simple, Temba. Hope is something we've been clinging to for so long, but there are days when it feels like there's nothing left to hold on to." Temba's heart tightened. He could see the weight she carried, the burden of watching her family struggle, of trying to keep hope alive when everything around her seemed to be falling apart. He wanted to offer her something more than just words. Under the glow of the moon, Temba made a promise, one that echoed in the quiet of the night. "Zola, I cannot promise that the earth will always be kind. But I can promise that I will stand by you. Whatever the future holds, I will be there to help you, to work with you, to fight alongside you. We do not have to face this alone." Zola's eyes glistened with unshed tears as she met his gaze. "And what if the struggle is too great? What if we lose everything?" Temba smiled softly, the moonlight reflecting in his eyes. "Then we will rebuild. Love, hard work, and faith in each other, these are the things that can never be taken from us." In that moment, something shifted between them. The weight of the world did not disappear, but the promise of shared strength, of facing life struggles together, gave Zola the courage to face the coming days. She reached up, her hand trembling slightly, and placed it over Temba's. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice barely audible, but full of deep, unspoken gratitude. From that night on, Zola and Temba became more than just friends. They began to walk through life's hardships together. They worked side by side, helping each other, drawing strength from the bond they shared. Temba worked with Zola's father on the farm, offering what little help he could. Zola, in turn, helped Temba with his herd, learning the ways of the animals. But as much as they tried, the seasons remained harsh. The rains did not come, and the debts mounted. One evening, After a long day of work, Zola sat with Temba beneath the baobab tree near the village, the moon shining brightly above them. Maybe it's time to leave, Zola said quietly. Perhaps we should move away, to the city. There may be opportunities there that we cannot find here. Temba looked at her, his heart heavy. I would go anywhere with you, Zola. But you must know that the struggle will follow us, wherever we go. It is not the place that defines us, it is what we carry in our hearts. Zola looked at him, a quiet strength in her eyes. Then I choose to carry love and hope. As long as we are together, we will find a way. Under the light of the moon, Temba took her hand in his and held it close. No matter where life led them, they knew they would face it side by side together. And though the days remained tough, and the future uncertain, Zola and Temba had learned that love, hard work, and resilience were the truest forms of wealth. They could face any struggle as long as they held on to each other, beneath the same moonlight that had witnessed their promises. The village still remembers their story, a tale of love that rose even in the face of hardship, a story of two hearts that beat stronger together, beneath the ever-watchful gaze of the moon.